Abundant evidence shows us that resilience enriches a good life. But we also know that resilience is a foundation of great leadership. Let's try to understand what that means. What exactly do leaders do? Well, great leaders provide three things. They deliver direction, support, and autonomy. In other words, the leader sees where we need to go and helps people believe that it's achievable. Secondly, leaders organize the support systems to make sure that people can do their jobs. And thirdly, leaders have the confidence and trust in their people to liberate them, to achieve their goals, to use their skills. Now, let's look at that in terms of resilience. So we all know there are times in our leadership when we feel great. We're strong, we're calm, we're confident, clear in our decisions. Life is a blast. In those times, it's relatively easy to deliver direction, support, and autonomy. But when resilience fails, when we become overloaded by the detail, the intensity, the turbulence, the challenges, we can slip down the spiral. And as we slip down, the future is much harder to see. It's much harder to believe. We don't have the physical and the emotional energy to support people. And the doubt leads us to think that people cannot achieve. In other words, we step in, and just as your resilience fails, so does your leadership. So how do we address resilience in leadership training? We look at this concept of resilience from four perspectives, four critical views for each leader to maintain an awareness or consciousness of. The first is insight. Insight could also be called self-awareness. It asks the question, where am I? All very well when we're feeling great. Maybe we need to be alert to being slightly humble, as we might be overwhelming when we're at the top of our game. But really important to understand, let's say you've had a heavy night, poor sleep, a battle at home, and you've got to walk into a critical meeting and you're feeling distressed. In that case, at least you know it. If you know where you are, you've actually started the journey of mastery. Mastery is our second perspective. Mastery is that ability to recognize where you are, to know that this is where you need to be for that meeting, and now you know how to get there. Whether that's by going to gym, having a good breakfast, taking time in the traffic to listen to some motivating music perhaps, you know exactly what you can do in short, skillful executions to move yourself to where you need to be. The third perspective for leaders is that of empathy or social awareness. Now, this is very hard, it takes a lot of energy. So we have to be aware of ourselves and in charge of ourselves to be able to direct our attention towards how others are traveling. As you step into that meeting, where is your team? How many of your team are at the top of the game? How many of your team are struggling? Can we see that, is the question the leader asks. Empathy is that ability to attune yourself to the tone of voice, the facial expressions, the body language, the language that people use, so that you know exactly where they are and you can at least understand their perspective. And that leads us to the fourth dimension, influence. Once we know where we are and we can master ourselves and see others, now we have the foundations for great leadership. We can connect. We can understand each other, and that's where the powerful conversations happen that lead to direction, to support, and to autonomy. We have lots of clients who work with us to help build resilient leadership into their teams. It's well tested. Over 45,000 people have been through our training. We know it works.